Hey, Table Talk with Sid, Life Memo. A friend of mine asked me to do a podcast on eliminating distractions in your life. And I'm really excited to do this podcast because that topic is powerful, number one. It is something that society seems to really struggle with, and many don't even know that they're struggling with it. They don't know that it's a hiccup in their life. So, to start off, when you are distracted, when you have things in life that are distracting you, if you will take a moment to consider that your soul, every soul, is meant for greatness. It's meant to do great things. It has a purpose. It has meaning. It has these things that it's been sent to this earth to do, regardless if you believe in life, God, or the universe. So, if the purpose for your soul is to lead you, guide you, help you to accomplish, help you to become, help you to be who you are, and to have meaning in your life, then the distraction that comes within your life is based and created out of fear. Many people, you'll notice people will say this, well, I have these goals, I want to become this, and they'll begin to strive. And then all of a sudden they drop the ball. They're really not on the same path. Well, that fear of actually becoming is huge, because to actually become, to actually be someone who accomplishes something, especially that thing that they really want, that requires change. You cannot accomplish things in life. You cannot overcome. You cannot be highly successful unless you change. So, in order to accomplish, change has to happen. You have to think different. You have to be different. You have to behave differently. You have to have different beliefs. You have to circle with different people. You have to have, on a moment by moment basis, a different thing about you. So that soul realizes that. That soul is highly intelligent. So that fear of becoming what it is you're meant to be is really a huge hiccup for many. So, quote unquote, distraction is allowed in. Because if one can say, well, I was distracted, well, I had no control over what I was pondering on, what I was thinking on, what it is that I was focused on, then down deep inside a belief which is not balanced. However, the belief is, therefore, it wasn't my fault. I had no control over it. And that's how come I never became. That's how come life was never equal for me. That's how come I never lived the life that I was supposed to live. So as you look at this, that distraction thing is then based upon what it is you have trained yourself to think on, to ponder on, to believe, to really sit and own. So, in order to know that you have intentionally thought and are believing in certain things, you need to be intentional about where your life is going. If one is not intentional on where they are going, it's like getting in your car. If you aren't intentionally going someplace, you will drive around for hours, days, and years, wasting fuel, putting wear and tear on your car, needing new brakes, needing new tires, because you were aimlessly moving about the world. So, if you want something, it needs to be intentional. And I have many people that will say, well, I just want to be happy and I just want to be peaceful. Well, that's like saying, I want $1 billion. It's too broad. You have to determine how to break that down. So we're just going to use those two things. Let's say somebody just wants peace, or they just want happiness or joy. Well, you can't just say that, because your soul is built on detail. Your soul needs to understand detail. Okay, great. So you want peace, you want joy. And your soul is inside saying, that's fine and dandy, but how are we getting there? So then when you dissect that you want peace and you want joy, you want happiness and fulfillment, what does that mean? Well, that means, what things make me passionate? What things make me tick? What things are by nature something I think about, ponder on, love, and it brings a smile to my face, even if I'm not making money doing it. So those things are what brings joy, happiness, peace. All right, great. So now we've put our finger on what brings us joy, happiness, peace. Now we have to say, all right, how do I go about entertaining, being a part of, including myself in on those things? Let's hypothetically say it's hiking, okay? So I love to hike. Those are the things that bring me joy, peace, and inspiration. But I don't like to do it alone. Well, some of the beauty to that is maybe somebody does like to do it alone. Then they just need to simply have a game plan. Where am I going? Where do I like to go? And go do it. They must schedule it into their day, into their week, into their life. They have to schedule it in just as if they schedule anything else in. They schedule their work in. They schedule time with raising their children, hopefully. They schedule time with being stressed out. You have to schedule time based upon the things you want to accomplish. So let's say they don't want to hike by themselves. Okay, fine. So what are my options of not hiking by myself? Yes, of course, finding friends to do it, finding an app, and meet up or whatever, and go with a bunch of people that you then have opportunity to meet new people doing the things that bring you joy. My point is this: distraction is that aimless driving around. When you've gotten in your car, you don't know really where you're going, but you really hope that you hit a great destination. You arrive back home and you're disappointed because you didn't ever become, you didn't ever achieve, and you never really arrived anywhere. Distraction is that aimless thinking. It is that thing that just sort of takes up space in your mind so your mind doesn't sit empty. Distraction is something that you can actually have control over. It's called intentional thinking, intentional doing. It is intentionally planning to do certain things, to think on certain things, to believe certain things, to ponder on certain things. Intentional living is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself, because intentional living is what creates exactly what you want. Most people are living a life of accidental creation, probably a good 90%, if not more, because most people have such fear, whether they know it or not. They have huge fear of actually becoming, because in their eyes, if they actually become or on the journey to becoming and quote unquote they fail, now they're a failure. When in reality, on the journey to becoming, you never fail. You're only educated. That's huge. It's powerful. You're only educated. So if you never fail and you're always educated, now you're still in the driver's seat. Now you get to do something with the education. You learn from it. You do different. You own it so that you have a history and a wisdom behind you. You never fail. So then that fear, if you understand that you never fail, that fear of actually becoming can decrease. You don't have to be fearful of it anymore because you're never a failure. You're always an individual being educated. So as you want to clear your life, clear your thoughts, clear your destination and your journey from this sense of lack of focus and distractions and things that aren't really getting you to where you want to be. The secret is intentional thinking, intentional pondering, intentional beliefs and habits, intentional goal setting, and intentionally heading that direction, doing the things you need to do to achieve, and understanding along the way you're never going to fail. You're only going to be educated. Now, the brilliance of being educated is this: it's not a competition. So no one has to feel like, wow, I need to be educated and learn faster than Sally down the street, because education is this brilliant, independent, personal thing. It's like trying to get to California from Utah. Now, some people, which are going to be majority of people, are going to take I-15 and head south towards California. Well, just because everybody, majority of people are doing it that way doesn't make it the only way, nor does it make it the right way for you. Now, yes, some may arrive in California faster than the person who took the back roads. However, was it more valuable to the person who took the back roads to stop, see the scenery, enjoy the journey, see the landscape, do some hiking? If that is the case, then the person arriving quicker, it doesn't matter anything to the person who took more time, because it's about the personal journey. It's about what's valuable to you. It's about what you learned in your education. It is about the intention that you had. You know, there is this professional golfer, and this was years and years ago, and he was at the top of his game. And I remember watching an interview of his after a tournament. And the reporters were saying, wow, you know, you win so often, and you were supposed to win this tournament. You had it in the bag and you didn't. Why didn't you win? And this has stuck with me for years. He said, yes, there were things that I should have and could have done differently. But he said, the fact of the matter is, intention is 90% of success. And he said, my intention was absolutely to win, but I was educated today. There were a couple things I need to do differently, but he says, I choose to focus on all the things that I've done correct to get myself this far, because he said, I must be doing a lot right, because look at where I am. And he said, then I also must lose, have a hiccup here and there, so that my soul, my spirit is always driven to improve. And he said, so I didn't really lose today. I was educated. And he said, then he was going to go home. He's going to work on those things that he needs to improve upon. But his main focus is going to continue to be on the things that he's gifted at, the things that he's doing right, the things that have gotten him from point A to point B. And then he will also then focus with fulfillment, not with emptiness, with inspiration, with the love of the journey, to increase upon the things that he had a bit of a hiccup in. So that in itself is powerful, because that individual did not sit at the top of golf. And if anyone knows golf, it's freaking hell. I'll tell you that. It's hell on earth. But nevertheless, so he didn't sit at the top for years and years and years because he accidentally got there. He sat at the top because it was intentional. He was aware of what he needed to do to get there. There was no aimless thinking about it. There was no distraction within his thoughts, his habits, his beliefs. Now, as if we're talking about an athlete like that, it doesn't make their life perfect. It makes that journey of becoming whatever that sport or goal or success was. Because in the end, your life, if your life can follow that same model, that same path as you do for career, or vice versa, you're going to be a more balanced person with more intention in your life. There will be very little that wavers in your life. There will be very few distractions, because you, as an intentional thinker, an intentional person, a person who takes control of the game plan and the future of what you want, now you can then pick and choose what you believe, what you allow into your life, what you allow to take control of your time, your thoughts, your habits, your beliefs. And therefore, if you are taking control of that, there aren't accidents within your life. There are things that happen that you may have unexpectedly sneak in there, but you are then fulfilled and prepared to be able to handle whatever you need to problem solve. Hey, in your day, you may fall down. Stand up, brush off, and move on. Talk to you.